All right, y'all. We know a lot of people looking to move here are thinking about, what's better? Is it better to rent, better to buy? Should you maybe rent first and then buy later after you get comfortable with the area? We're going to be diving into all that, talking about it. What's the pros and cons of, renting versus buying specifically here in the Jackson area.
And that's what we're talking about today.
What's up, everybody? I'm Jared.
And I'm Charles. We are Jackson Metro Area Realtors with EXP.
That's right, y'all. We're here on the Living in Jackson, Mississippi channel. And, of course, we've got a lot of videos about the area already. If you're looking for that kind of stuff, you're thinking about moving here, so you want to see the areas, you want to see the neighborhoods, the suburbs, and learn all about them. Mm-hmm. That's what we put on this channel, and that's what we've got coming out, too, in the future. You don't want to miss those, so make sure you get down there, subscribe, and click the bell. That way you'll get notified when those videos come out. And especially you don't want to miss them. If you are that person, you're doing all that, you're probably the person that's thinking about moving here.
Yep.
So you need to take that just one step further.
That's right. You got to give us a call, give us a text, or shoot us an email.
Break out the megaphone.
So we can make your move to Jackson so much smoother.
That's right, y'all. We got you back moving here to Jackson, and so that's why we're making this video today. We get these questions a lot of time. People will reach out and ask us about rentals, and I got to be upfront and honest with you right off the bat. We don't really handle a lot of rentals. It's just the way the real estate market is here.
We don't handle rentals.
Yeah.
So in our market, what's typical is you're either contacting the property management company or the leasing agent to find out information and to view and then to rent if that's something you want to do. That's right.
So it's not something we can really help you with on that side, but we can still kind of give you some information here, and I think it's important to kind of go into. Like I said, the pros, the cons. What are the benefits of renting? Why might you want to rent? What can you rent something for?
That's right.
And then, why might you maybe want to consider buying instead? Is that a better idea? So you're definitely we're going to cover all that. Stick around to the end because I've got some information at the end as we get closer to the end that's really going to probably help you make that decision as what's best for you. But I want to jump right into it at the beginning. Like I said, I acknowledge that, what are the reasons you might want to rent? I know some people think they want to wait to buy, later in the future.
That's right.
They'll come in, rent, get used to the area, which is understandable, and you may decide that's what you want to do, and we're going to talk about that. Or you may just want to rent in general. You may have some circumstance you need to work around before you can buy, before you think you can buy. So we find out sometimes that's not always the case.
That's right.
So there's a lot of reasons why you think you should rent. So since that is the case, I want to compare what you can rent versus what you can buy, and I'm going to share our screen here a little bit, and we're going to jump over here to Zillow Rentals. Now, if you know us, we're not a huge fan of Zillow, but they do have the rental website.
It makes this so much easier to show it to you on the map right here.
Easier to see. So you do have rentals all around, and we've got this just for comparison's sake, since we're comparing this to buying to 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes or bigger.
And the price point we used here was $250,000.
Yeah, so we're going to compare that to a $250,000 house. That's probably pretty accurate. You may find a house for less than that. You may find it for more. But, same with rentals. There's all kinds of different options. We're not showing apartments here, though. I just want to say you might find an apartment a little cheaper. Not way cheaper. A little cheaper.
No, just a little cheaper.
Just a
not
little
way cheaper at all.
In Flowood, I know a 3-bedroom apartment is around $1,500 plus at some of these places. So it's not cheaper.
And to say this, our rental market has gone up in rent with the real estate market as well with all that. So they're all going up together. They're like following each other.
Yeah, it's all going up. So it's just is what it is. I will say so here we go. If you look around and we look through the list here, you're going to see a lot of 17, 1800, 2000, 2100. And that's generally what you're going to find here up in the Madison County area. And I want to mention, too, in the city of Madison, these are going to be your only options. There are no apartments there.
That's right.
So city of Madison is those. As you get out in Madison County, you may have some apartment options. Ridgeland, Flowood, Jackson, they've all got apartments, but these are the houses for rent there. So what you're going to see is generally those prices up pretty much, I'm going to say, mostly about 17 or 1800 and up in Madison and a lot of Rankin County here.
I did notice one as you were scrolling. Go back down.
Yeah.
There's one for $1,175, which I'll go down a little bit.
We're at
I'm sorry, I keep it the wrong way up. I do this all the time. Go
1175
up. Yeah, right there,
in Pearl.
1175.
Yeah, so you may get that in Pearl. I'm gonna say Brandon, Flowood, Madison is probably gonna be more I'd say at least 1500 and up for most of what you're gonna find there. Probably the same over in Clinton. You know, maybe 14, 15, 1600. You can find some a little lower in Jackson. It's possible. Here there are some of those.
And on the map, it looks like a lot, but it really isn't.
Yeah, it's really not. I mean, if you go back a couple years, I mean, all housing inventory is limited. That's definitely true on the purchase side, but it's even true on the rental side as well. But that's what you can kind of rent things for. I would say I would say 16 or 1700 is what you're probably going to need to expect. Not to say you can't go find something cheaper than that, but the stuff that's cheaper would also be a much cheaper house.
That's right.
If you were buying it.
That is exactly right. And then for people that have pets, it's going to be even harder for you to possibly rent just because of the stipulations and the deposits that they require and stuff like that. So I've heard that sometimes they'll put a 50-pound limit on the pet there.
Like that.
So
I mean, obviously you're renting, you're under more restrictions. You're kind of playing by the landlord rules with a lot of things like that. So it's not always a problem, but you know, like you said, if you got pets or other situations, it could be.
And Jarrett's mentioned in previous videos about short-term leasing and stuff like that. With the way this market is now, I don't know if you can do a short-term lease.
Yeah, it's difficult to find.
If you want to do something like that, like say, hey, we want to come in and rent for 90 days to 180 days, then we would say, well, we would need to make some phone calls to even see if that's doable.
Yeah.
So your hand might be forced to do a one-year lease. And I'm just going to say it, Jarrett. When you rent lease, that's money you'll never get back.
Right.
So obviously take that in consideration.
So we'll get into kind of those as we go here. But now we kind of see what the cost is of renting here in the area. I want to compare that to the actually buying a home. So we're going to look here and get this to update, because Hinds County, specifically here the Jackson area, is generally going to have probably the higher. For some reason this isn't. Let's get a refresh.
Yeah, refresh, because it's not that high.
Yeah, that's the mortgage interest rate there. Well, it was giving us the right thing before we started. You know, when you start making videos, you run into
technology. It is. It's not updating.
Not what to well, here's what it was giving us before. So this is what it's giving us for Jackson, which is probably pretty close to accurate, and it's probably going to be just about the highest in the area. So that's what you're going to see there. Interest rates can obviously vary a lot depending on your own personal situations, exactly when you do it.
I think while we got this pulled up, Jarrett, we don't know what's going to happen, right? But they're predicting that interest rates will go up 4 times this year.
Yeah.
And I've seen 3 to 4. It could be less, it could be higher, but just throw 4% in there to show a difference in that payment real fast.
Let's get through this first, because I want to explain this, and we'll look at those.
Oh, okay. You want to go through the numbers, and then we can do that.
So there are 0 down payment options here. USDA, you might be a VA buyer, so you can do 0 down payment. You will, in this market, in fairness and transparency, you will probably need to have your money for closing costs, at least, and your inspections, which I'm going to say 6,000 to 7,000. Usually, you're going to need to have on hand.
Closing cost, I would say, because of all.
Yeah.
6,500, maybe more. I've heard 10,000.
Yeah.
Not with some of the lenders here that we work with closely, but I have heard 10,000 from an out-of-state lender.
Yeah. Watch out with those online lenders. They may get you a better rate, but they might hit you on some other stuff. But I would say generally that you can do that, and if you do, that's probably pretty accurate for the higher end of property taxes here. For a $250,000 house, this may go up or down a little bit, but that's probably pretty close.
It can fluctuate for sure.
All these numbers, we're trying to estimate. They're not going to be hard numbers. But there you go. Looking at that, with those taxes, with those insurance payments, everything, you're looking at pretty much $1,600 a month. So what I'm showing you there is it's pretty much either going to be right on par with what it costs to rent, or cheaper. Like I showed you, a lot of those Rankin, Madison County are $1,700, $1,800 plus. And a lot of those are homes in this $250,000 price point. So when you look at that, you're probably you know, going to be paying a little bit more for rent on average. It's just in our market here, that's just the way it is. I know in some of the markets it's different.
I would say you're
You know.
definitely going to be paying more.
Yeah,
unless you're just buying a more expensive home, right?
Right.
So that's telling me you're renting something you really don't want to live in.
Right. So now, like you were saying, now that's the situation today. So right off the bat, if you're thinking about moving here, you're saying, okay, well, you're probably going to pay a little bit more to rent, and maybe you're saying, well, we want to take some time. It's worth it to pay a little bit extra money today to feel comfortable where we are and move. I get it, understand that. But like you said, you might, you know, short term is hard. Maybe you can do, I know some people do Airbnbs, you know, for a month or two just to kind of acclimate themselves. It's difficult. I'm not saying you can't do it, but
you can do Airbnb, but it's definitely going to cost
you're going to pay, okay,
$3,000, $3,500
if you're going to pay, if you're going to pay more for a year though, you're going to pay $300-$400 extra a month for a whole year.
Hey, that's thinking outside the box. I like it.
So
because that's actually will be a lot less.
Pay that for a couple months, and here's what you get to do by doing that. So like he said, interest rates are supposed to bump up a few times in the next year. Let's just say they go to 4%. That same $250,000 house, which was costing you $1,600, is now costing you $1,700, over $1,700.
That's basically $120 difference per month.
Yeah, and add to that, I don't see prices going down. I see them continuing to go up. So let's say you wait a year and it's 4%, you know, and this house is now, let's say it's bumped up to $260, right? So now you're getting closer to $1,800 for the same house you could have bought a year ago, right? And if you're going to be renting long term, you think, well, we don't really want to deal with buying a house. I'm not trying to rent today only and buy later. I just want to rent. Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, that rent is going to continue to go up. Okay. Just like the housing price is going to continue to go up. But if you bought that.
I have a good example.
Yeah.
I have a client now that's a renter here that has been renting, right? Now they're wanting to buy. So they couldn't buy last year. It was just a tough market. Ended up, I said, hey, best bet, pull back, throw some more money back, cash back to have more cash, and let's come back to the table in the summer. Well, they only let her sign a 9-month lease. They didn't let her sign a year lease. Wow. So that way, in 9 months, they could bump that rent up again on her. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yep. So rents are obviously going up really quickly. It won't be surprising at all to see that go up kind of the same way this payment goes up if you wait to buy. However, if you bought that $250,000 house today and we bumped it back down to today's price and today's interest rate, well, your payment gets to stay that. You're locked in for a 30-year term on these mortgages. There can be minor fluctuations with taxes and insurance. But we're not talking about it going up $300 in the next 2 years. You're talking about minor fluctuations.
No, but we see equity going up.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. This money's not being thrown away. You know, right. I say thrown away. You're paying somebody's mortgage either way, right? So you're paying theirs.
You stole that line from me, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I stole it from somewhere, but you're doing that either way. This way, you're paying yours, which means you're building equity, both in what you actually pay.
Yep, you're paying down on your loan.
And as that price goes up.
Yep.
That's also more equity that you get as well.
I got another story real fast.
Okay.
So I had a client that bought a home, right? They lived in it for 2 years and 6 months on the dot because I looked at these numbers yesterday, and they made roughly $42,000 on that house here in our market, which is not, full disclosure, that is not normal, right? But they were able to upsize and get something bigger and sell because they had enough equity built up in that home, and the prices went up drastically. Yep. So like you just said, that house that you were describing could go up another $20,000.
So we don't have a crystal ball. We can't predict the future.
No, we cannot. It could go down.
Prices,
we just don't see it.
Prices have gone up. Yeah, I mean, all over the country, but here as well, kind of just a really crazy amount over the past couple of years. I don't feel it's going to go up quite to that extreme, but it could, and I definitely don't feel like it's going down. So
our market usually lags behind the national market. Mm-hmm. So it could still, but he's right. We just don't see those increases moving forward that much. But hey, we don't know.
That's right. And so all of those uncertainties, you know, I think, you know, and people will say, well, I'm going to wait for the prices to go down. Well, let's say the prices do go down, you know, and right now, what did we originally think we had this on 3.18, but you know, let's say you're here and let's say the prices go down to 230 even, but the rates go up to 5%, you know, because we don't know.
Just do 4%.
Yeah, we're going to say 4. Just
the 4 like you did as a comparison.
4. Look, the price is the same, you know, or a little bit more monthly, even though the price on the house went down 20 grand, but you're still paying the same rate. So there's almost no scenario where a year from now you're going to be in a better situation buying than you are today. You're going to be either the same and spending maybe a lot more on interest, or more on the house, or both, or or it's just you're going to be much worse on the buy side, on the rent side.
And I'll use myself as the example. And I'm a little different because I owned a home, right? And I was like, I don't want to buy in this market. I feel like I'm overpaying. But when I sold my house, I feel like I also made additional $20,000 more than I should have. So that's how I went into the next home. I felt like on that home I was paying probably $20,000 more than I should be. But the rate was so low at the time, I got a 2.65.
Yeah.
I can't get that today. So I couldn't buy the house I bought today with that rate going up that high.
Yep. As a final little bonus point, I would say, we always say this: if you are selling a home where you're going to sell in the same market generally that you buy in. You get that same percentage. So, like you said, you made a little more there, you spend a little more there. Well, if you made a little more there and then wait a year, and then you're going to spend even more because you waited too long. So that's a possibility too.
Yep. That was it. I was like, well, if I wait and the prices do continue to rise, I'm going to pay even more.
Yeah. So we know there's still circumstances where you may have to rent for a little while, and all that comes up. And if you want to reach out to us, we can kind of point you in the right direction on some of that. Like I said, we really don't handle it ourselves. No. But if you do want to explore even the potential of buying, maybe just to see if you can, you think you can, but you want to see if you can, we've got some pretty great resources, local lender here that can help you get what you need on that. And really just kind of help you out the best way we can. That's what we're here to do.
That's right.
That's why we're making these videos. You don't want to miss those. We got more coming out. So make sure you do get down there, subscribe, click the bell, so that you don't miss those. And if you watch this far in the video, and you're going to watch all these other videos, you probably are seriously thinking about making a move here to the Jackson area. And if you are, you got to take it one step further.
You got to give us a call. You got to give us a text or shoot us an email or
break out the megaphone. Really, all you know, it's whatever you got to do. You got to get in touch with us so we can help you out, because we got you back moving here to the Jackson Metro. So thank y'all for watching this one. Try to keep it a little shorter this time. Yeah, just a little bit. We're going to look forward to seeing you